Hello, everyone. Sunday live stream here. Hope everyone's well. Let me know if you can hear me properly. Billy, Billy's asleep as usual. Let me just do something here. Turn this off. Don't want to have my phone on. Alain Roy, bonjour Alain. Alain est à Montréal, au Canada. Using my French a little bit. Brady Girding, hi Brady. I've seen Mr. B here. I've seen Pablo Pina. We've been having a chat on the comment section about inflation, about the weather, about everything. Great to see everyone. Hi Peter Brunsgaard, Chris Jones, Lisa Sumner, The Daily Wolf, Shane Sturgis. Hi Shane from East Sussex. SW, hi SW, Pablo Pina, Paul Ween, Manitoba, from Canuck Land, Mr. Ashford, Lightning for 3, Norman Burton. I read the UK government is not going to vaccinate people under 18 years of age and not require a booster. No, they're not. You've heard wrong, Norman. The scientists said they shouldn't, but they're going to go ahead with it anyway. So yeah, no, it's not. I've read now that they're saying even the parents won't have to consent for children. So yeah, you got to be careful when you hear things like that. So I don't think anything's great over here, but we just have to do. I just say no as much as possible. I will not do. I will just do as much as possible as I can, as if it was before 2020. That's the way I look at it. G Manac is here. Cardinal Sin, Mike T, from Australia. He's back in the UK. Well, good for you. Bitcoin, ETH, LTC, Crypto and Silver from Manchester. Hi. Blast from the Past is here. Chris Jones. Yeah, loads of people here. Nice to see everyone here. The title of the live stream tonight is, yeah, the Western central banks. And by that, I mean the Fed, the ECB, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of England. They are totally in denial. They think that well, what they call inflation really is rising prices. They think those prices are going to come back down, but I think they're going to stay very sticky. They're going to go a lot higher. They're going to go up to probably double digits, or even if they don't go to double digits, they might come down to a phony 2 or 3%. But they'll never go negative in order to bring prices really down. They always keep going up. That's the big scam. They keep inflating and inflating. Yeah, and they'll never let it get below zero. And that would be a good thing because negative, why would we want prices to rise? Wouldn't it be great if your money held its value or bought more as time went by? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm just going to show you a few articles because the mainstream media now, they're getting concerned. They're saying, oh, we're going to get inflation, but they don't realize because they probably haven't been listening to me and other people in the alternative, that inflation is already happened. It happened last year in spades. It's been happening since '08. And what do we get? What we're getting now is the consequence of it, which is rising prices for consumer goods. And it's going to get worse. And the crisis that we've had since last year, that's disrupted all the economies around the world, and it's not going to get better anytime soon. And I think the next step could be the loss of confidence in the currency, and that's completely different than from rising prices. It's just a currency event, and I see that's as a big possibility. Sarge 27271, hi, nice to see you. The Liberty Lion is here. Joseph Mario Morek is here. Dan Hovspian is here from Minneapolis. Who else? Jean-Richard Varret is here. I suspect that the central banks aren't in denial. They need inflation. Yeah, that as well. Um, I think, but I think what I think they're in denial of is that they can control it, that they can keep inflating smoothly. I think they'll lose control, and I'm going to show you an article uh, about the emerging market central banks, and especially the Russians and the central bank of Brazil. They are not convinced that this is going to be transitory or temporary. They've been raising rates, and that's what the central banks here should do, but they can't because we've got so much more debt than Russia, for example, or even Brazil, that it's crazy if they start raising rates here. So I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes till everyone gets here because I always start a little earlier than 9 o'clock. Jordan Netburn, bonjour, Jordan. Nice to see you here. Uh, SW, yeah, today was a really nice day. Connor Monnery is here. It was quite warm. It was in the 20s, or I guess that's like low 70s in Fahrenheit. I played golf this morning, and this coming week is going to be really warm here. So we're getting a bit of an Indian summer, which is probably not a politically correct thing to say anymore, an Indian summer, but that's what we're getting. Leland Klein from oil rich West Texas. Yeah, I had a friend once from school, boarding school. He was from Midland, Texas. I think the Bushes were from there too. Well, they moved there, the Bushes, Midland, Texas. Patrick Gelbke thinks there'll be a stampede into precious metals in a few weeks. Yeah, it's starting to look better. I did a video yesterday about the technical picture. So now I'm gonna share something here with you guys. Where is it? Uh, let's bring this up. Oh yeah, okay. Share. So yeah, this is the story that I thought was interesting. I saw this in the FT. So it says inflation could spark new global financial crisis, says Russia's central bank. Warning highlights countries' growing concern over worldwide increases in prices. So this is Elvira Nabulina. She's the governor of the Russian central bank, and this is one of their scenarios that if the Federal Reserve has to jack up interest rates, as it says here, to quell inflation, that it could create a crisis like 2008, as you see here. And the article does say that the Central Bank of Russia thinks this is not the main scenario, but it's a possibility. So they see here, this is the consequence of the central banks of the West raising rates. And that's probably why they are in denial, because they know they can't do it. But they would see like a huge financial crisis like 08, 09 by the first quarter of 2023, which isn't really that far away. But the other interesting thing about this article is that it talks about how countries, in Eastern Europe, emerging Europe, and Ukraine, Brazil, and Russia, how they've raised rates to combat rising prices. They're not combating inflation. Well, they are deflating by, they're tightening the inflation. They're inflating less, and that hoping to bring lower prices. So as you can see, Ukraine has raised rates by 2 percentage points, Russia by 2.25, and Brazil by 3.25. And they're having trouble still. It says here Brazil inflation's running at 9%. I think that's not true. Partly, I think the last CPI numbers for Brazil I saw was like somewhere between 5.5. Maybe they're looking at the last 3 months. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I don't think we're going to see this kind of fight against rising prices or inflation, if you want to call it, from our Western central banks. So let's get rid of that article. We covered that one already. So let's see if you guys have some questions. So smash the like buttons. Big inflation March next year. Russia will save the West, says Chris Jones. Let's see. There's more. I wanted to show you but I think the mainstream media they are behind the curve because if you've been listening to me and other people, we've been saying since last year with the increase in the Fed's balance sheet, with the increase in the money supply, M2 and M1, that things were it was going to be really hard to keep the genie in the bottle. So let's do some more. I'm gonna share now Rafi Farber's latest report, and he expects like car prices, used car prices will continue to climb. And I did a video a couple weeks ago because Toyota in Japan, they already started closing down plants. I think they're going to close 40% of production in Japan in September, and it's happening in the US. And look at the auto inventories to sales ratio. It's almost down to well, half, 0.5. And this is the domestic auto inventories in the US. So not great. So thanks, Rafi, for that. I recommend Rafi's YouTube channel, new YouTube channel. He makes some interesting videos there. So I'll show you another one. So we'll get through this here quickly, hopefully. So this is from the Daily Telegraph. He doesn't use the term inflation, which is right. He says cost of living crisis looms as steep price rises take hold. So there you go. We're getting the consequence of the inflation from last year. And the funniest comment I heard here in this article was this. Let's see. Yeah, it was from the governor of the Bank of England, and this is what he said. An increase in the level of prices is not the same thing as embedded ongoing inflation. Andrew Bailey, governor of the Bank of England, points out, so in itself, it is not sufficient cause for a fundamental shift in monetary policy. Perhaps so, but if not nipped in the bud, spikes in inflation have a nasty habit of becoming self-perpetuating. So you can see that Andrew Bailey is 180 degrees from the Russian central banker, the Brazilian central banker, the Ukrainian central banker in terms of understanding what's going on. And I think, unfortunately, the general public, not only here in the UK, but in the US and in Western Europe, is going to pay a heavy price for it. So Sarge has a question. Did Rafi get his silver contract delivered? No, they didn't. He didn't actually. And I'm not surprised because I've said many times, because I was a futures broker for 20 years and we discourage people from taking delivery. And apparently they closed his futures position. They had said that they were going to give him a warrant for delivery, and they really went back on their word. He's got the recording of them saying it's okay. But so he's looking now to get an account with another broker. I don't think it's going to make any difference. If I were him, I would go take the cash and buy real physical from a dealer. They're going to make it really hard for him to take delivery. They don't want to encourage people to do what he's doing. Alex Cooper, what do you think about the UK government raising taxes to pay for all this mess? Yeah, there's a lot of debate right now on increase in the national insurance tax. And I think there's a lot of opposition within the government. Um, yeah, it's going to be tough because raising taxes will slow down the economy even more. They're between a rock and a hard place. And I did a few calculations and I tweeted out the other day, if you put a transaction tax of 0.1% on foreign exchange transactions in the city of London, you could raise about 750 billion pounds a year, which is basically almost the whole UK budget. So, but of course, they're going to punish the general public. And if they increase the national insurance tax, I think there will be a lot of anger, a lot of anger. Blast from the past. After reading Lords of Finance, I'm amazed at how similar the Fed and central banks of the 20s were to the 2020 central bank. Easy credit, excess money, printing, crash coming. Yeah, and I also think it's going to be slightly different because back then we had a gold standard in the major countries like Britain and US, and today we don't have a. I think the bubble, credit bubble, is even bigger today. We saw some debt to GDP. No, stock market cap to GDP now is at 205%. During the 1920s, it went up to 122%. So I think it's going to be even worse. I think we're going to see the currencies collapse. We're going to see the markets collapse. Money, everything will collapse. The only thing that will be left standing will be precious metals, and that's why I keep holding it. Uh, there you go. Jonathan Daniel, what is the second best option for storing gold, silver off-site? Any thoughts on Kinesis and Andrew Maguire? Uh, Jonathan, I would keep it as close as possible. I mean, if you are in Singapore, keep it in Singapore. But if you are in the UK or in the US, try to keep it as close to you as possible. I don't know much about Kinesis. I have heard of Andrew Maguire. I've listened to his videos and like his work and interviews over the years. Yeah, and but I'm not. I don't have any assets with Kinesis. I prefer Glint, Glint, um, Glint. Glint allows you to basically store unallocated gold in Switzerland, and they provide you with a MasterCard. Yes, there's a small fee for that, and there's a small fee when you do the transactions, and you can keep fiat currency in your app, and you can actually have the gold delivered as well if you want. But it's in a Brinks depository in Switzerland. I think it's Zurich Airport. Kinesis, I think for me it's too complicated. All earning, I don't quite understand how they create the income for the gold. The way I look at gold is you hold it physically, or if you want to store it with someone, and that's it. And yeah, and then if we go back to if gold is the only thing left after a collapse, then of course it will come back as money. You can lend your gold as well. But yeah, that's the way I look at it. And if you do do something with Glint, uh, you should use my referral code. Let's see, referral code is Mario Glint 79. Yeah, so I couldn't say about Kinesis. I've never used it. IRM 21, are you concerned about Evergrand debt crisis in China? Uh, I actually Rafi talked about that, and he also said he doesn't know much about how that could impact the Chinese financial system, if it could be like a Lehman moment, but I don't think it's a huge problem for China. I could be wrong, but I think I'm sure the Chinese government will try to do, and the central bank there will try to do everything they can. But I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Lightning for the curious if there's some major long-term power outage. What happens when one's Glint account and its contents? Well, nothing happens really because if you have an account with Glint, even if there's like a cyber pandemic and the internet goes down for a week, and it comes back, it will still be there. Your gold will definitely still be in Switzerland because it's real. So, I mean, it will not only be Glint, but everything that's done with a counterparty where you have an online account, it will be difficult. But you can phone. I've used the telephone to call Glint. What I would do is I would take their number from their website, the help desk number, and write it down. So eventually, if we do have such a crisis, you can call them on the phone if you can use your phone. Norman Burton, thank you for your super chat. Mary, there's another yellow material that is a potential store of wealth, and the power utilities needed to keep the lights on and run the server farms. I guess you're talking about uranium. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Um, but yeah, that the way to invest in that, I think there's a uranium company called Cameco. Yeah, I try to stick personally though to what I know, and what I know is the monetary system. And the reason why I stick to miners is because I think they'll become like the central banks. Not that they will be as bad as the central banks, but they will be creating the money supply. And I think there will be heavy demand for real money, gold and silver. Um, yeah, uh, uranium and other energy sources are good too. And I think one of the reasons why uranium price is going up is because natural gas prices are going up. And I made a video about that. And natural gas prices are going up because the bankers are pushing the carbon emissions prices. Those are going through the roof as well, which is ridiculous. It's like uh, it's like creating a futures market for how many miles you can drive a week. And then you have the bankers buying that contract so people can't drive out of their houses. They're encouraging people to go into out of fossil fuel by driving up these carbon emission prices. And the thing is that I think the supply of natural gas is kind of limited right now from Russia. And if we have a very cold winter in Western Europe, it's going to be really bad. So I think people are moving towards nuclear, even though Germany, I think a few years ago after Fukushima, they completely stopped their nuclear program, their nuclear energy, and I think that's a mistake. But yeah, it could be a good place to be. I might look into maybe chemical and some other uranium companies, even though, as I said, it's not my specialty. Hi, Butch. Yeah, I did play golf yesterday. Today, it was a really nice day. I've been playing a little better. So I think I've got some more articles here about the rising prices, and it's easy to fall into the trap of saying inflation because we've had the inflation, right? You see, this is the Guardian from the UK. One of my viewers from Texas sent me this. So you see, they're behind the curve because they're saying inflation set to surge this autumn as Brexit and COVID combine. No, prices are set to rise. The inflation has been happening for many years. So it says worker shortages and problems with global supply chains together create perfect storms, say business leaders. Yeah, of course, they're going to blame everything but the central bankers for the rising prices. And that's not a surprise. But we know, of course, why prices are rising. Well, because we've had the inflation. Uh, Corner Monnery said that I heard Russia just bought a lot more gold this week. I saw someone a tweet the other day that they took their SDR allocation, which was I think July 23rd. The IMF came out with it, $650 billion, and they took their allocation and bought gold with it. That's what I heard. That's very possible. Connor Monnery, what do you think about solar energy? I'm not an energy expert, but yeah, it's an interesting source of energy. I think people have been using, solar panels for many years. I've thought about having it for my home, but yeah, I think it's a good option if you, yeah. David Bradley says PGA players. I think it's the Tour Championship. Yeah, I haven't really been following too much golf. I try to play a bit more. Anyway, there's a lot of money in this. It's ridiculous. I mean, I remember in the 80s and early 90s, you won a tournament, you won like $80,000, 100 at the most, and now you win one tournament and you win 15 million. I have nothing wrong with people doing well, but I just think it's perverse. Uh, it just goes to show how screwed up our system is that someone, and I love golf, but I just think there's something wrong there that they're earning that much money playing golf. HJ79, thank you for your super chat. Does Billy like to go for his walks? How far can he walk? Do you have to carry him? No, no, I don't have to carry him back. I don't take him for very long walks, but he can go for a long walk. I take him for about 15 minutes in the morning and maybe about 10 minutes in the afternoon. But he's all right. I don't have to pick him up. If I did, that wouldn't be a good thing because the last dog we had, when I had to start picking him up, that was like near the end. Kyle Kramer, thank you for your super chat. The reason uranium is going up is because Eric Sprott has a new fund, Sprott Physical Uranium. He's literally cornering the market. Okay. Well, maybe he's cornering because he thinks it will be a substitute to natural gas as well. Big Bush Ape, is there any tax implications using Glint? I don't mind the fee. I have some fiat and gold in Glint. It depends. Oh, you're in the UK. Yeah. Uh, I'm not a tax expert, but All I would say is that in the UK, um, coins of the realm are capital gains tax free. And I guess the gold that you're going to hold with Glint, if you were to buy, let's say, 100,000 worth of gold there, and it doubles to 200,000, and then you liquidate it, you would have to declare for your capital gains. But if you hold sovereigns, you don't. So yeah, there is but you should check. But I don't think there's any income tax or anything, but there could potentially be capital gains tax. Of course, there's a threshold, I think, of 12 or 15,000 for capital gains. Dmitry Shmerkovich, thank you for your super chat. What do you think of 25% food stamp increase in the US? Is this the way to forestall social unrest? If so, how long can it last? Well, yeah, they're trying to stop that, right? The social unrest by increasing food stamps. And it's weird because on the 4th of July, I think the Biden administration said that the price of a 4th of July barbecue only went up by 5 cents, but they're giving a 25% food stamp increase. Just go, and it's going to get worse because the more they come out with help, the government, the more inflation it is, the more prices will rise, the less the money will be worth, the more they'll do it. Yeah, it's a real slippery slope. But I think they'll have a tough time because the currency will go down quicker than how much they increase food stamps, and you could get social unrest. Mark Gutierrez, if you sell to a local dealer, there are no reporting of capital gains tax, right? Well, cat, in the UK, if I buy sovereigns or Britannias, it doesn't matter. They're capital gains tax free, so I don't have, and it's not for the dealer to declare. You're the one who's responsible for your tax affairs. But I don't know where you are, Mark Gutierrez. I'm in the UK. There's no capital gains on coins of the realm, nor on silver, nor on gold. William Birkenroad from La Jolla. I'm selling my condo, walking distance to the beach, and purchasing a number of lots and building residences along the ocean in Northern California. Okay. I like La Jolla. Yeah, Torrey Pines is there. I played there many years ago. Great golf course. It's a public course, municipal. Uh, Mr. Ashford, what should someone be aware of when choosing a broker to purchase stocks? There's zero commission ISA stocks account offered by apps like Plus 500 212. That seems useful. Um, yeah, I mean brokers now is so different than when I first opened a brokerage account. I think I opened an account with Charles Schwab here in London, and he would actually speak to someone even though you could deal online. But zero commission, is that a good thing? I don't know. But I have IG.com. Uh, I think they're all very similar, the brokers. Yeah, and one thing to be aware of is like last March when the markets were imploding, you might not be able to deal for an hour or two because they freeze all their platforms. So that's what I would say. But if you can get ICE zero commission ISAs, that's a good thing. Euro Titans, thank you for your super chat. Recently purchased Principles of Economics and Human Action. Owning physical books is to the mind what owning physical gold is to wealth. Neither can be wiped out. That's right. I mean, that's why I never really liked the electronic books. Even though I have read one or two electronic books, I prefer the real thing. You can see behind me, I've got plenty of books. And some of them can be worth quite a bit of money, rare books. Collect tourists, move to Russia. Uh, I think Russia, yeah, it's an interesting place. I've never been there. Right now, it's difficult for my wife and I to move. Uh, we have my mother-in-law, she's like 89 and she's not well. She's got carers, but we have to help out as well. And so, yeah, it's a difficult thing to do at the moment. William Birkenrow, can you explain to people why it's not important to put gold coins in retirement funds since gold grows equity without taxation, ever really without needing a retirement fund to hold for you? I agree with you, William. The beauty about gold is that it's very private and you hold the coins physically. And I would never put it into a retirement fund, but here they had I cashed out of my small private pension I had. Well, it was bigger, but then it got smaller after the dot-com bubble burst. But yeah, I would just try to create my own pension. But they give incentive here, like they give you a 40%. So if you're working and you put it into a private pension, if you're a higher rate taxpayer, you have to put only like 60 pounds to buy 100 pounds worth. But then when you liquidate it years later, they'll tax you back on it. Yeah, all it does is keep the fund managers, the brokers, and the pension fund managers rolling in your fees. So yeah, that's for people to decide whether they want to do that. And I agree with you, William, on that 100%. Mark Gutierrez, I'm in the US, but I think Texas is a state that there's no taxes in precious metals. I'm not talking about taxes when you buy gold. I'm talking about capital gains tax. And that would be in the US, that would be a federal tax, a capital gains tax. Um, yeah, there's no tax here in the UK either when you buy gold. There's no sales tax, no VAT. There is VAT on when you buy physical silver. But yes, what I'm I'm not sure what the capital gains situation in the US is for gold. Stray Dog, West Point Eagle on sale the ninth at the mint, 175,000 minting, a for sure 10 bagger. Uh, Jonathan Daniel, capital gains tax when you sell. Well, it depends if you make here in the UK, we have a threshold for this in stocks. If you, let's say, during a tax year, you make £10,000 profit on a stock market position, there is no capital gains because you've got a threshold of I think 12,000. It might have gone up a little bit. And also, if you have a NISA account, which is a tax-free account, that's the other way to do it. But there's a limit. You can only put about let's say, how much is it? 20, only about $30,000 in the tax-free account, ISA. I'm not a tax expert. Let's see. I think there's something else I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, this is quite important here. I think this goes to the subject of the petrodollar, which I've been covering in the last few weeks, ever since when was it? I think September 14th. China, no, not China, Russia and Saudi Arabia. No, was it? August 24th, not September. August 24th, Russia and Saudi Arabia signed this military defense cooperation deal. I think that was huge. I made a video about that. But now, look here, Russia and China continue ditching US dollars in settlements in favor of national currencies. So this is quite significant. They're moving more and more towards eliminating the US dollar from their transactions. And this is to do with Gazprom Neft. Uh, they have a huge presence. I didn't realize. It says here the agreement has been reached between Gazprom Neft, which operates 34 airports in China, and China's national jet fuel operator, in the lengthy period of talks regarding a move away from making payments in US dollars. So so this is what they're going to do here. We're starting in September, and by the end of the year, we can transfer virtually all payments for aviation fuel in China to yuan. Mr. Dyukov said he added that settlements for refueling Chinese airlines at Russian airports will be converted into rubles. So I think this is another story that shows that the petrodollar, the power of the petrodollar is diminishing, or the influence. Masson H says the best uranium stock is Encore. Okay. The Liberty Lion federal government was intended as a government over the people on federal lands, not all the people. Well, actually, the I would say the Constitution of 1787 is what created the federal government. Prior to that, you had a loose confederation, the Articles of Confederation. And I think uh, the former 13 colonies would have been a lot better off if they hadn't maybe signed the 1787 Constitution. And the Federalists, they didn't even want to have a Bill of Rights in the Constitution. I think it was only like three guys who were against the Constitution who made sure that the Bill of Rights was put into the Constitution. So I agree with you. I think maybe we could see the end of the 1787 Constitution. That would also mean the end of all the debt that Americans supposedly uh, are lumbered with, because it's the debt of this federal government. Yeah, Billy is snoring. There he is. Steve Vickers, have you got a Telegram channel? No, I mean, I am on Telegram, but I don't use it. I don't put my videos there. I use it to just to communicate with a few people. Telegram. I post my videos, on YouTube, Hive, BitChute, DTube, Rumble, Odyssey, or Library, and I think that's enough. Or else I'd be here all day putting videos on all these platforms, because I do everything myself. So, but anyway. Baba Joe, aside from silver, do you think numismatic gold would hold more value for purchasing real estate post inflation? Numismatic is tricky. You really need to know what you're doing. You need to, yeah, and you can buy, I guess, a coin, and it's rare, and it could actually go down in value even if the bullion prices go up. So I'm not really. I think the best way to have exposure to gold and silver um, is through just the bullion. Even though I personally do have some numismatic coins, but I hold them because I like them, not because as a yeah, and they will do well as well. But I'm not expecting them to do better than normal bullion coins, even though they might. I hope that answers your question, Bubba. DMC Telegram would be good for the community. Well, uh, I've got if people really want to send me private messages, the best way to do it is through Patreon. And I have someone from Texas who sends me a lot of stuff, and he sends it to me because he's got access to my Patreon. And he actually said the other day, "I'm surprised you haven't got as many Patreon supporters or people supporting you on Patreon." So yeah, I think that would be the best thing, and it helps support the channel as well for as little as $1 a month. Yeah, and I have the details always on every video below in the description how you can get to my Patreon. But I don't want to start a Telegram channel. Yeah, it's just too much, and I think the live streams are nice as well. So that's yeah. And then we start in Telegram, and people are going to say, "Oh, why don't you go on Signal?" Carlo Iaboni, Numismatic. That means, collector's coins, Carlo. Those are like collecting collectors. It could be gold, silver coins. It could be copper coins. It could be any kind of collector's coin. Sapporo 2891. Why USA debt keeps rising, even so they suspended it. They've suspended the debt ceiling, but they haven't suspended borrowing and spending. So it's just a trick. Eventually, when they revert or reset their debt ceiling, it's going to go through the roof even more. Patrick Gelpke, did you see Ed Steer's interview, latest interview? I haven't. I've seen the thumbnail, but I haven't had time yet. Yeah, that is an interesting guy. Thomas, yeah, I've got a little bit of Ethereum, Thomas. I've got quite a bit of Hive. I've got Steam, but I've switched some of my Steam and Hive into Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum is doing really well. I'm happy with it. I don't have that much. So there you go. But I'm gonna hold on to it. I'm gonna hodl my Ethereum. Uh, Silver Highwayman, are Australian, Canadian, New Zealand Tokelau coins of the realm? They have our Queen's head on coin. I also live in UK. Thanks. No, I think it has to be Britannia. Yeah. So I guess for Canada or Australia, I think. Do you mean Tuvalu? Tuvalu? Yeah, they're not coins of the realm, even though they got the Queen's head. Because yeah, the realm you're in is in England or Ireland and I mean Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. So stick to Britannia's and the Beast coins as well. Any coins that's minted by the Royal Mint in the UK with the Queen's head is good. Connor Monterey, do you prefer precious metals in bars, coins, and rounds? All really, all really, but I've got more coins than bars. Silver, I guess, you can have some bars. Gold, not so much. But anyway, Miles, what would be what would what would be the cause for the powers that be to just let the markets collapse and remove the punch bowl? Um, what could that be? Um, I guess they lose control of prices and they raise rates. But or I don't think they will ever remove the punch bowl. I think the markets could collapse even if they try to uh, put more punch in the bowl, because people might just lose total confidence in them. But right now, I don't see them doing that. So I don't see a reason for that. There would be a lot to lose. There would be a revolution, social unrest, because if they let everything collapse, think of all the pensions that would implode. It would be a huge mess. They're trying to keep this up as much as possible, I would say. Yeah, yeah, just think of all the pensions, because all the wealth that Americans and people in Europe, Western Europe have now, it's all paper wealth. So if they, yeah, I guess if they want a revolution and mayhem, that's when they'll do it. uh, and who knows, they might want that. Well, the Fed's Matthias Sindelar, the Fed has uh, unlimited amount of punch. The problem is, uh, you know, the people might pass out and just collapse from having too much punch. That's the problem. Mr. Ashford is a Florian numismatic or would be junk. It depends on the condition. I've got a Florin here that I bought a few months ago, and I think it was about 45 pounds, but it's in really good condition, as you can see here. There you go. That's a florin. But I have some other florins that I paid, the junk price. So it depends on the condition. This is in really nice condition, this florin. It's one of my favorite coins, the florin. I like the half dollars are nice as well. Especially the Kennedy half dollars. Yeah, Matthias, I think it would be a lot more than 10 years without the punch, because we've had punch. The punch has been overflowing for decades. Gur Oji, September 7th is the start of the Shemitah. Yeah, I think it's the Jewish New Year. I think it starts tomorrow, Rosh Hashanah. It's from tomorrow to the 7th. It's like from sunset to sunset, 6 and the 7th. Gold silver ratio, Buddha, please clarify your Saturday comments, how it correlates. Yeah, usually in the major gold and silver bull markets of the last 50 years, uh, silver outperforms gold. So the price of silver goes up quicker than the price of gold. So that ratio drops, because that ratio is how many ounces of silver you need to buy an ounce of gold. So right now, in the last few months, uh, that ratio had been going up, which meant that silver was underperforming, and now it looks like it's turning. So it looks positive for both gold and silver. So yeah, what I meant is that unless silver starts doing really well relative to gold, it would be very hard for gold to retest last year's high. So and make even new highs. So that's what I meant. In 1980, when gold topped just below 900, silver got to 50. That ratio got to 16 to 1. I think last year, when we had the collapse in March, Gold outperformed, and the ratio got to like 127, which is a historic high. And now we are around 70, I think 75, 76. And we got up to almost 80 recently. I think we're at 74, but it looks like it's going down again. So that's the gold silver ratio. And I think in 2011, when gold and silver topped, silver topped a little bit earlier than gold at $50, and then gold topped at 1920. That ratio went down to the low 30s. I think this time it could go lower, so I think silver will do really well. I do. Hi, Alan Zibelman. I do have some Franklin halves as well, but most of mine are just those 64 half Kennedy half dollars. They're very, very common coins, but they're great coins to have. Silver. August was the jubilee for the gold window. The Goobers believe in these numbers. Remember IMF's Lagarde? Could they use September fiscal and USA time to close the books? Who knows? I mean, who knows? There's a lot of people out there talking about these things, but yeah, I think you're talking about Bo Pony there, the analyst of time. Alan Zibelman, Acme Uranium Company. Bugs Bunny has some shares in that, and the Wile E. Coyote. Aaron Levy, I haven't. I think I've heard vaguely about this crypto project Hex, but I don't know anything about it. Recently, I think I was speaking. I don't know who I was speaking to about this, but there's a crypto that I noticed has been going up a lot. It's called Solana. Yeah, I think last year was less than $1, and now it's like 137. Solana, I think it's spelled like this. And basically, Solana is like it helps people, it helps the Ethereum blockchain become faster and more scalable. So it's like that's what I understood, is it soups up the Ethereum blockchain, which could be a good thing. Joker Alpha, the price of food. Yeah, they're not bad, but I notice, restaurants are getting really expensive. My wife and I went out for lunch yesterday, which was nice. And yeah, it's not cheap. You have some starters now that are uh, as expensive as the main meals used to be 5, 10 years ago. So I remember the time when a nice fillet steak was 12 or 15 pounds, and now it's 25. But in the supermarkets, I think they have been creeping up. I think they're going to get worse. And here in the UK, there's a big shortage of heavy goods vehicle drivers, HGV drivers. Um, and That's going to be a problem. And I think there's a shortage of truck drivers or HGV drivers or lorry drivers on the continent as well, in Europe and in the US. And in our just-in-time delivery supply chain world that we live in, this fiat supply chain world, if you don't have enough trucks to deliver things, prices are going to go up. It's going to disrupt everything. And I don't think it's going to get any better. Paul Hillenar, do you think there will be a Bretton Woods 2 anytime soon? Um, no, I think that will only come about after the collapse of the current system. Uh, and I don't think, the United States, the people who run the United States want to have a Bretton Woods 2, because that would be an admission of failure of the petrodollar. So, but eventually, the world will have to get together to uh, the only reason they have to get together about money is because you have to, different countries trade with each other. Maybe the best thing is that we don't get Bretton Woods and people from different countries just deal with, amongst themselves with whatever they want. That would be the best thing, really. Deal in gold, silver, or crypto, whatever you want. Or bananas. I could buy bananas from someone in Brazil and sell them potatoes, or who knows. But yeah, that's what I think it will be eventually. There will have to, if they're still in power, the powers that be, they will sit down, and I think whoever has the most gold will run the show. And that seems to be China and Russia, I would say. Do research before the booster. Yeah, Lily Robbins talking about the money fork. Do you think the reversal will stay intact tomorrow night uh, and Tuesday? What reversal you talking about? Money fork? You mean the? Do you mean the move higher in gold and silver? I think so. Yeah, if that's what you're asking me. Dan Anderson, what happens after the monetary system collapse? The thing is, I think it will be very disruptive, of course. Many people will not know what happened. But I actually think it's a great thing because we don't have a monetary system. Ever since 1971, we have a debt-based system, a fiat currency system, where yeah, there is no money. Before 1971, uh, the dollar, if you had $35, a foreigner had $35, they could exchange that for an ounce of gold. So that's what's going to happen. Just the fiat currency will collapse, and that's why I have been stacking physical gold and silver because I think they will come back, and people will realize, well, this is real money, not the pieces of paper or the digital entries that we have. So we got, let's see, Stray Dog says our nation's silver is in the hands of the people. Yeah, that's why they don't like silver. The money fork. No, I don't play scratch golf. I'm off six, my handicap. Uh, I got down to three in my 20s, and recently the lowest I've been is five. Uh, Carlo Iaboni, I made a video about that, natural gas. Uh, when was it? Let me have a look. I'll get you the link so I don't have to really go through it again. Where's my nat gas video? Uh, Here we go. There it is. Yeah, I talked about that there. Where was he? Carlo, that yeah, that's the link for you, Carlo, there for the video about natural gas. Yeah, Matthias Sindelar, I agree with what you said there about the exclamations. It's getting a little bit tedious. Connor Monnery, do you think the banks will shut down if the stock market collapses? Yeah, they could. Yeah, they would probably shut down because they would collapse as well. And the other thing as well that we need to keep in the back of our minds is this possibility of a cyber pandemic that Klaus Schwab has been warning us for over a year. I think that could be quite serious, and that could be something that could happen from now on until the end of the year. A cyber pandemic. You know, they had their cyber Polygon uh, event. I think that was in July. So that's another thing. If that were to happen, you won't have access to your bank account because everything is done electronically. Sindelar, Matthias, do we have at least one more year to save? I don't know, but you mean like stack gold and silver? Hopefully, but maybe not. Who knows? It's difficult to say. One of the reasons natural gas, though, has been going higher, and I'll make a little comment here, is because they're trying to push everyone out of fossil fuels. And the ICE exchange, that's how you spell it, they have a contract called the EUA futures contract. And that basically puts a price on carbon emissions, and that's going through the roof. So in the past, energy providers or companies that need to produce things, if the price of natural gas went up too much, they'd shift towards coal. But now, to burn coal, you have to buy these carbon emission futures. You have to buy carbon permissions, and they're getting really expensive. So they can't hedge, the natural gas going up. So yeah, it's a mess. It's really unnecessary, and it's all to do with this climate change agenda. Who and the same people who run this agenda are the people who brought us the crisis of the last 18 months. They're the same people who run our monetary system, same people who run the globalists. So yeah. Carlo Iaboni, I don't think it's dumb because you can get clean coal as well, and but natural gas is clean, but right now the price has gone through the roof, and it's got a lot more potential as well to the upside. It's nowhere near the all-time high. Straight Dog, are you going to Silverfest 2021? No, I don't know don't know about that. Isn't it Chris Marcus who organizes it? I mean, I'm not going to travel right now. I'm not traveling, especially to the other side of the world with all the controls they put on us. So I wouldn't go there. Not because I don't like Chris, but just because it's not easy right now. Paul Hillenar, what percentage of precious metals should one hold? I always say to people, I don't know your circumstances. uh, I look at holding gold and silver as savings. So how much do you want to save? That's what I how I look at it. All right. I'll take just one more question, and it's gone past 10 o'clock, and we've gone over our time. The Great Closet, do you recommend commodity stocks? You know, I give my opinion on things. Uh, yeah, I think commodities are going to do well. Hard assets, especially with the fiat currencies going down and prices rising. Uh, the ones that I have are more in the miners, gold and silver miners. But there's a lot of other commodity stocks and energy and other commodities. But I don't have any one in particular. One thing I would say is look at the you know ETFs or mutual funds that invest in commodities. Go to their prospectus and then look at their holdings and maybe pick some of those companies. That's what I would do. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I really enjoyed this chat with you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Take care and have a great rest of the weekend. And or if you are in the Far East or in Australia and New Zealand, have a great Monday.